Hi, good people. Happy Saturday. It's Sherry. I have some free and valuable information for you. And you and you. I'm going to be doing a review today. Usually I'm doing research, and movie reviews, when I watch a movie, it is very much like research. So this week I went ahead and I watched Blade Runner, okay? The original one back from the 80s, not the newer one, which I'm going to watch tonight actually, because the first one was so good, okay? So that's the one I'm doing a review on, okay? And it was very, very good. Oh my goodness. It's and whenever I watch a movie, and I suggest you guys do this too, is to look at it like a form of research. Because when these movies are put out, I'm not going to say which agency, okay? But allegedly there is an intelligence agency that runs a big portion of Hollywood, and therefore dictates what movies come out and what they're going to have in them, based on something called predictive programming. Meaning they do all this fantastic things in the world, this technology, the science, the happenings, and if it's all classified, that's kind of boring for them, because they create all this and then they can't talk about it because it's classified. So they tell you, but they tell you in a way where they're not really telling you, okay? So they put it in the form of entertainment, movies, music, media, Hollywood, da, 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 da. But there's a lot of, truth in it, of course. Where do you think they pull the ideas from? So anyways, my suggestion to you when you watch a movie, knowing that, go ahead and watch it with a different type of view, Take a few notes, at least mental ones anyways, right? Yeah, predictive programming. And it makes sense. Like I said, you wouldn't want to be, doing all these fantastic things and not able to speak on them. But you can't speak on them straight out, so you have to kind of pass it off as entertainment, okay? So science fiction, if you notice, a lot of things that were once science fiction, and it's funny because in this movie, I'll get to it, okay? But in this movie, they show people talking like on Snapchat, the visual where, you can make the call and you actually see the person, like we have now, Snapchat. But back in the 80s, we didn't have that, but the movie did. Anyways, I digress. So, Blade Runner. Okay, one more time. Might I say, Harrison Ford is looking mighty well in his heyday, okay? Picture him as Han Solo. It's that circa, okay? You will not be disappointed. He plays it so well, okay? I heard they had other actors picked out for the role, but he went ahead and did it, and good thing, because well done. So yeah, this movie is actually, I'm looking at my notes here. This movie is based on a book, okay? And the book is called, what is it? Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Okay, so androids meaning robot, because this movie focuses a lot on robots, okay? That's one of the main plot lines. So when they dream, do they dream of electric sheep, or do they dream like regular humans of real sheep? So the movie, again, was directed by Ridley Scott, and it's funny because it's actually set up for November 2019. Okay, now we're in September 2019, but it was made back in the 80s. I found that interesting as I was watching it. It's futuristic, obviously. It's a futuristic post-apocalyptic, so after war. It's based in San Francisco, but it must be Chinatown or something, because it looks very Asian influenced. I mean, throughout the whole movie, they keep like panning to this one screen where it's this poster, with the Asian lady and then a Coca-Cola sign. So even though it's San Francisco, it looks very Asian influenced. No surprise there, right? The movie is also full of symbolism, so keep your eyes and ears open for those of you who know what you're looking for. There's certain stuff that they like to always hone in on for the symbolism. I'll explain a little bit towards the end, okay? But keep your eyes open for that, because once you start to be able to recognize it, you'll see the patterns in most movies, okay? So yeah, anyways, in this futuristic world, there's a mass immigration because of the war and the radiation. A lot of the animals even died off. So they had to relocate into off-world colonies, okay? And that was better for them. The humans that stayed, the Earth was different. It was very crowded and very, very poor looking, as you would imagine a post-apocalyptic world to look like, right? And of course they had, you know, it's in the future, so they had flying cars, laser weapons, like I said, the Snapchat, futuristic Zen, dot, 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 reality now, okay? And of course the android-looking human robots, okay? And they weren't called that, though. They were called replicants, okay? Replicants. So, and they were lab made. They were made in a lab, so it's a type of cloning. They looked just like humans, you know, skin, hair, teeth, and you know, they looked like humans. And they were made to be helpers. So some were made to be, you know, maids in the house, or, you know, hired help. Some were, of course, super soldiers, you know, to be used in warfare. Some were for other uses. Very fascinating, okay? And because they were not quite human, obviously they were fabricated, you know, this is a science fiction movie, since they were made, there was a few glitches, okay? So they were prone to, I mean, they were made too, they had to have memories placed in them, you know, false memories, which is actually a real thing, predictive programming. You can program the subconscious to have a memory of something that didn't happen, or you can also, there's a way to remove other memories. Yeah, because remember, we've talked about this, EMFs, it's all evoked potentials, it's all frequencies. So if you can tap into that, you can affect the memories of people. But yeah, implanted memories, and these were good ones, you know, to give them a sense of, you know, that they were actually born and had a human life, which they weren't, because they were cloned robots and they were made in a lab and born as adults, which is kind of odd. But okay, roll with it. It's science fiction. Like I said, some of this stuff is, you know, predictive programming, and some of it is just like a, what do you call that? A pipe dream? I hate to say that, but you know what I mean? Like, no, sorry, people, you're never going to have that capability. You can make test tube people and all that, but straight up people, no. That only belongs to one person, right? Has that ability. Okay, capability. La-di-da-di. Don't let me get off track here. So so these replicants, right? They were made to be helpers, and they were lab made, but they looked just like humans, and they had false memories implanted to, you know, give them a cushion so that they thought that they were born for real and had like a real childhood and had memories of it and everything. So, but because something was off, they couldn't quite recreate the human, you know, personality, free will, intellect. Then these replicants were prone to having emotional problems, like becoming angry and getting violent, you know, and then some of them were used for things like super soldiers. So, you know, they were used for war and whatnot. So yeah, and one of the main characters, the replicants, one of the antagonists, you know, the bad guys of it, he said, you know, you wouldn't believe the things I've seen with these eyes. So, you know, and what's interesting, okay, well, so anyways, because they were prone to acting up and to, you know, killing, they were to be exterminated. You know, killed. They called it being retired. You know, they were going into retirement. Okay, so then the newer ones that were built too, because they realized that they had these problems, they only gave them a lifespan of 4 years. Okay, so to do whatever it was their mission was, and then after 4 years, that was it. So yeah, some of them, they didn't even know they were replicants. The newer ones, they chose not to tell them, you know, because it just upset them more. And then, I don't know. Yeah. What am I trying to say here? Gotta follow the notes. There's so many points, you know, I'm trying to spit it all out, but without blah, blah, blah. So anyways, you have this world, this post-apocalyptic world with these replicants, and, you know, you kind of feel bad for them. And they were getting killed off. They only had a lifespan of 4 years. What happened was that some escaped from an off-world colony, right, and came back to Earth to try to live. But they were also killing people, okay? So enter Harrison Ford, who was a bounty hunter type, mercenary type of guy who hunted replicants as his living. Okay. Like I said, he was really looking good in that movie. Yeah, good for him. But he was a bounty hunter, and yeah, and it was his job to help retire them. Okay. Now here's a little tidbit in the movie, a little Easter egg for you. That's what they call those, like a little thing that you didn't know. But Scott Ridley, the director of the movie Blade Runner, he said that the character Deckard, that's who Harrison Ford played, the bounty hunter mercenary guy, he was actually a replicant, and he did not know it. So that's a story plot twist, right? Kind of like that one with the boy who could see dead people, and Bruce Willis was his psychiatrist or psychologist, right? And he didn't know that he was also dead. They were both, which, that's once you're dead, you're dead. But for whatever, they didn't know that the guy didn't know that he was dead too. So that in this, Deckard, the main male character, he did not know that he was also a replicant, but he was a bounty hunter of replicants. What a twist. Hey, so he goes through the whole movie and just look for the little Easter eggs of that. Okay, I won't ruin it for you. But so he goes on assignment for one of the main creators of the company that makes these replicants. The bigwig, and the bigwig at his house has a woman, one of his replicants he created, and her name was Rachel. She was one of the newest models. She was a Nexus 6, they call them. Okay, so and she didn't know she was a replicant until Deckard did he carried with him like a little machine to do like a standardized testing to tell if they were human or replicants. Because remember, they looked human and they talked human, so you wouldn't be able to tell unless you did this standardized test on them, and they would give their answers differently. Kind of like how in real life you do testing to find out if somebody's a sociopath and whatnot. There's like the clinical way where you get the questions, and then there's also just the common sense way where you just kind of ask them a little bit. So hey, what do you feel about well, there's a way to tell, right? And usually as humans we kind of know if somebody's not right. You kind of go, ooh. But also sociopaths can be very charming, so be careful. Anyways, I digress. So this guy, he goes to the house of the mogul, the company mogul that helps make and design and sell all these replicants, and he has one working for him, and her name is Rachel. Poor lady doesn't even know she's a replicant. Okay, so he leaves, and he got his assignment is to kill the 4 replicants that escaped from the what is it called? The outer world colony, off-world colony. They came back to Earth. They're, trying to kill people, and they're, whatever. So it's his job to go hunt them down and retire them. All right. So he got his assignment. The movie at that point revolves around him pursuing those 4 replicants. There's 2 guys and 2 girls. One of the girls' name is Pris, and she's played by Daryl Hannah. Is that her name? Daryl Hannah. She was big in the 80s. She played that mermaid in Splash and everything. She was pretty good. I didn't realize how much of a important actress she was. So that was a good role for her. And anyways, it just shows them together, the replicants, how they're trying to help each other escape. And you kind of like find yourself like empathizing with the replicants. Like they don't mean to do what they're doing. They're just, and they feel lost. The one guy, the replicant, he wanted to go back to his hotel to get his he had brought his photos, because remember they didn't have any real memories because they were born in a lab. So then they were given fake memories, like with photos and everything, like, here, this is your family, and this is your mother. And really it wasn't them, it was some other kid. It was a picture of some other kid and their mother and somebody else's memories that they had. But like all of us, you would cling to that, right? So it's one of those things where you see the humanism in people and you empathize, even though they're not really supposed to be people. They're android people, replicants. It tugs at you, kind of like Planet of the Apes type of thing, like where the apes and the humans are warring, and you kind of like siding with the apes. You're like, oh man, you feel them. They're the underdogs. You always feel for the underdogs, don't you? Yeah. So the replicants in this movie, that's how that's a lot of the plot line. Okay, so yeah, and the replicants, part of their goal too, when they came back to Earth, was to find the Maker and see if he would extend their life. Because remember, they only had 4 years, and some of them were very close to that. They had lived lived their almost their whole time. So they wanted to find out if they could get, an extension from the Maker, right? They went to find him. Obviously they went and found one of his workers and made him take them to his house. So, and then they got there and, hey, Maker, can you please let me live longer? I want to live. Like we all do. We want to live. And the Maker said he couldn't, or maybe he wouldn't. But no, he said that he couldn't. He swore that he couldn't. They went over all these options, and he just said, nope, nope, not going to work. You know, you're set to expire at a certain time. And of course, the replicant got upset and killed him and the other guy. So yeah. And then Harrison Ford, while he was over there, you know, whatever, meeting the maker and whatever, Harrison Ford was out and killed the other two, one of the guys and one of the girls. So then by the end of the movie, there was only two left. There was the main replicant, the antagonist one that came, you know, from the off-world, and then his female counterpart. But it was interesting because him and her were really like cute together, like they really got along, and you know, they were kind of a couple, kind of, sort of. So Deckard, Harrison Ford's character, ends up killing the girl, the Daryl Hannah's character, Pris, and then her, you know, her friend, the other guy, I forget his name. Well, look it up, okay? Just if you get that far, if you want to watch the movie, you'll figure it out. He's the blonde guy. He's got like really bright blue eyes, kind of looks very Germany. I think he has like a German name. Go figure. The movie has a lot of parallelism in it, so you can see where that's going. Perfect race of people. You know, this is not, when things are done in movies and stuff, a lot of times we say, oh, it was, you know, by chance. Especially big blockbuster movies like this with sci-fi and all that, and have a really deeper message about futuristic stuff. They choose very carefully when they're picking the characters and how they look and what things they show in the scenes, you know, for symbolism, to accentuate, you know, because again, this is all overseen. This is not just somebody getting on there and, you know, there's a format, you know, that they follow. But so anyways, yeah, so Deckard kills Pris, then he goes, and him and the antagonist guy, what is his name? Darn it. Anyways, they have the final fight scene, okay? And what happens is the guy almost kills him. You figure he's a super soldier, so he's doing flips. He's like punching through walls. You know what I mean? He's moving like really agile, and he's super strong because he's a super soldier. He's a clone robot replicant, right? He was trained in war. He was the one that said, you know, these eyes have seen things that you can't imagine, and he says it all, you know. You can imagine, right? Warfare. So him and he breaks Deckard's fingers when Deckard's trying to shoot at him with his little laser gun, you know, and he punches through the wall and pulls his hand through and like breaks his fingers, so he can't like hold his laser gun anymore. So you can just imagine, like, oh, he's done for, right? You know. But funnily, the fight ends up on like a rooftop, and Harrison Ford is almost falling to his death. He's like holding on to that one little whatever peg that's holding him up between him and death. And the replicant stands above him, and you can just picture he's just gonna like stomp on his hands and make him drop, or you know what I mean, kick him in the face or something and kill him, you know. But he doesn't. He helps him up, brings him over to, you know, they get back on the roof, they're safe, and Deckard looks at him and he's inching away because he's like, oh, now he's going to kill me. He just wanted to be able to kill me in a more, you know, get at me more. But no, the replicant does not kill him. And he tells him, you know, it's one of the best scenes in the movie. He's like, you know, I just wanted to live, and everything I have, all my memories, and you know, the real ones, like now it's going to be nothing, you know, like tears in the rain. It was raining during the scene, you know, and you know, like tears, it'll all blend in. And I think there's like a Bible scripture on that too. Once we die, we go back to the dust, and everything we were, everything we earned, the people we love, like it's all stopped, you know, temporarily anyways. But you can imagine it's still sad. So that's what that covered in that movie, you know. And he didn't want to die. He just, like all of us, right? We all, like the Bible scripture, we want to live to infinity, you know. If somebody asked you, when do you want to die? You know, how many years? I'll give you X amount of years to live. When do you want to die? At what age? No age. Never. Nobody wants to die ever. We want to live forever, right? Forever is in our hearts. But that's not a possibility at this time, right? Because that's a different video. You know why. Don't play. We're talking about symbolism. You know. But that there was something done to fix that. But we have to wait, okay? And this is a this is a big test, right? And and death is. It's very hard. Okay, so this movie really hones in on that. That was an interesting, last scene with the antagonist and the protagonist. He did not kill Harrison Ford. Also, as I told you, remember, the director, Scott Ridley, said, or is it Ridley Scott or Scott? Ridley Scott, I'm sorry, I just flipped that. Ridley Scott, the director, said that Harrison Ford's character was a replicant. Okay, so here he is, bounty hunter of replicants, killing them, and he actually was one as well. So that was one of the reasons that the other replicant didn't kill him. Okay, so he spared his life. Yep. And of course, the love story was woven in the whole movie, the plot line, him and Rachel, who was a replicant. So them two, learning to love or whatever, two lonely people learning to love and whatnot. It's always fascinating, right? They end up, because remember now, she would get killed because they know that she's a replicant. So, and he doesn't know that he's one, but they decide to go off and try to have a life together in the post-apocalyptic world where replicants are killed. Okay. Pretty good, right? It is. It truly is. Watch it. It's worth your time. Watch out for the symbolism in the movie. There are, once you know how to look for it, you keep seeing it. There's like the number 23 lots of times, the number 13, the dragon, the, what else? Owl. You guys know, and the owl has like one blinking eye, and, So look for that kind of stuff. It's in there. Okay. Once you see it, you can't really unsee it. Okay. But it's there. It's in every production usually. So yeah, and then another thing too is in this book, because remember it's a post-apocalyptic war, a lot of the animals were killed off in the war. So owning animals is something like only the extremely wealthy can do. So, and owning them is a sign of wealth and status and empathy. So definitely that was kind of an interesting twist in the movie. And what else? Oh, you know what I wanted to point out was this movie has some parallelism with mind control slaves. Yeah, do I have to bring that up? Yeah, I do. Okay. Since that's what we're all going to be kidding. I kid. Okay. This is entertainment. Now, with the mind control program, though, is a real thing. And when their minds are programmed to become things like, super soldiers and sex slaves and all the different ways they can be cross-trained, sometimes they are, they're not looked upon as regular people, especially by their handlers and whatnot. They're looked at as something to, like how you would view an animal, right? Because there's the key word here is slave, right? There's a better word, indentured servantry. But that's indentured servantry. That's different, right? There's a level of, that's what we all are as workers, right? You've got to work to get money, unless you're born into it. And even then, somebody had to work for it. I digress. So, but with mind control slaves, this is very much the replicants in this movie. There is an obvious parallelism drawn, okay? And just how they're used, for things that they don't want to be used for, and not told of their real history, with the memories and stuff, because that happens a lot of mind control. That is how a lot of mind control is done. You have to compartmentalize things and erase memories and implant memories, and it's a whole process. So yeah, this movie definitely touches on that with the whole replicants theme. And what else? Yeah, I thought this was a really good movie. I thought it was really, really good. It's worth watching. It's worth your time. It's the weekend. What else are you going to be doing? Go ahead and watch it, Also, too, like I said, you guys know there's a part 2 with Ryan Gosling. So I look forward. I think I'm going to watch that tonight. And then maybe I'll review that one. So I know I usually do different things here as far as when I do my research and everything, but the channel is research and reviews. So I've given you a lot of good information this week and a lot of heavy information. We've talked about a lot. And so you guys have some researching to do. I'm not going to keep pushing it, that we're moving on to we're on the cusp of something great as far as technology, with the ability to do mind control and to transhumanism and interfacing the human brain with devices and all that. That's upon us, and it's coming soon to be mainstream. So my advice would be to research it now so that these things that happen don't surprise you and don't shock you. Because yes, the human brain can be synced with computers. Okay? But I digress. That's my spiel, right? Watch this movie, Blade Runner. Give yourself a treat. It's Saturday. Okay? Blade Runner. I got it from the library, so it's free to rent. Wonderful. Even better. But you know, you can get it on YouTube or Amazon. I think YouTube charges like $3, $2.99 for every movie, so, or somewhere's around there. It's not too expensive. It's worth it. All right, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you've seen it, what you thought about it, the Replicants, the whole movie thing. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe, please. And share this video if you find it interesting, okay? Notifications right at the right moment. Told you. Interfacing. It's wonderful. Anywho, you guys have been great. Have a great weekend. Do your research, and God loves us. All of us. Remember that. All right. And have a good one. Bye.